Most men drift through life like ghosts, seen but not truly noticed. They wake up, go through the motions, and fade into the background. No lasting impact, no unforgettable presence. The world doesn't remember men who simply exist. It remembers men who demand to be remembered. Ask yourself, if you walked away today, would your absence leave a void? Would anyone feel the weight of your disappearance, or would life continue as if you never mattered? The answer to that question isn't just a reflection of your past, it's a warning for your future. If that thought makes you uneasy, good. That means there's work to do, because the truth is simple. Forgettable men are easy to replace, but you don't have to be one of them. The choice is yours. The time to wake up is now. There are two types of men in this world, those who blend in and those who stand out. One is invisible, the other impossible to ignore. One fades into the background, the other owns the space he walks into. What separates them? It's not luck, it's not talent. It's the discipline to demand more from yourself. The men who command respect, who move through life with purpose, have built themselves brick by brick. They didn't wait for the world to hand them value, they created it. Look around. Most men don't live with intensity. They settle. They drift. They let life happen to them instead of taking control. And when they're gone, no one remembers. But the exceptional man, his presence is felt long after he leaves the room. If you don't want to be another faceless name in the crowd, then build yourself into someone unforgettable. What makes gold valuable? Scarcity. What makes a rare painting worth millions? The fact that it can't be replaced. Now think about men the same way. If you're just like everyone else, if you think like them, act like them, settle like them, then you're as common as a pebble on the street. Easy to find, easy to replace, worthless. But the men who invest in themselves, who develop skills, strength, and an iron mind, they become rare. They become the exception, not the rule. And that's when value skyrockets. If you don't want to be easily replaced, then stop being easy to find. Build something within yourself that no one else has. Become a man of worth, not just another face in the crowd. Comfort is a slow poison. It numbs you, softens you, and convinces you that you don't need to push harder. But men who crave comfort over challenge never build anything great. Look at the world today. Entertainment on demand, food at your fingertips, distractions everywhere. It's too easy to be weak, too easy to stay the same. And when you choose the easy road, you become one of the masses, replaceable, forgettable, nothing special. But the men who rise? They reject comfort. They seek challenge. They train when others relax. They learn when others waste time. They push when others settle. And that's why they stand apart. If you want to be different, embrace discomfort. It will shape you into a man who can't be ignored. If you disappeared today, would the world even notice? Would your presence be missed? Or would life continue as if you never existed? That's the question every man needs to answer. And if that truth hurts, that's a good thing, because pain is the signal for change. This is your wake-up call. You have a choice. Keep living like every other man, or start building a life that no one can ignore. There's a reason most men live and die unnoticed, and it has nothing to do with luck or talent. It's about choice. The 1% rule is simple. Become the man who does what others refuse to. Most men drift through life on autopilot. They take the easy path. They avoid discomfort. They chase temporary pleasure over lasting growth. And because of that, they remain average, replaceable, forgotten. But the rare few, they do what's difficult. They step into discomfort and own it. They show up when others make excuses. They push through when others give up. They treat every day as a chance to get better, stronger, smarter, sharper. So ask yourself, which one are you? Are you following the crowd, or are you stepping into the fire? Because the difference between being replaceable and being irreplaceable comes down to this. Will you do what others? Some men tell themselves a lie. The lie that greatness is something you either have or you don't. That success is given, not built. That some men are just meant to lead while others are meant to follow. But that's not the truth. No one is born exceptional. No one is born unstoppable. Every great man made himself that way. Look at any man you admire. any man who changed the world, and you'll see the same pattern. They weren't handed success. They weren't born into excellence. They built it through choices, through habits, through discipline. So the real question is, what choices are you making today? Are you building strength or feeding weakness? Are you sharpening your skills or wasting time? Are you creating a future that commands respect, or are you letting life slip through your fingers? Greatness isn't about what you were given. It's about what you do with what you have. The world is always testing you. It will try to knock you down. It will whisper in your ear telling you to relax, to slow down, to settle for less. That's why most men never rise, because they let the world break them. But the ones who refuse, the ones who hold the line when everything pushes against them, they are the ones who stand apart. Your standards are the line in the sand between who you are and who you could be. If you allow them to slip even once, you set a pattern of weakness. But if you hold the line, if you demand more from yourself every single day, the world has no choice but to take notice. So, where is your line? Do you hold it, or do you let it slip? Do you refuse to lower your standards, or do you make excuses? Because in the end, your standards will either make you unshakable, or they'll make you forgettable. A sword isn't sharp without fire. A man isn't strong without resistance. Most men run from struggle. They avoid the fire, fearing the heat, fearing the pain. But what they don't understand is that fire doesn't destroy you, it shapes you. Every hardship you face is a test. Every challenge is an opportunity. Weak men see struggle as an excuse to quit. Strong men see it as a chance to get sharper, tougher, more dangerous. The question is, how do you handle pain? Do you let it break you, or do you let it build you? Do you see failure as the end, or do you see it as fuel? Weakness is a choice. Strength is earned. And the only way to earn it is to walk through the fire instead of running from it. Let's be honest, this path isn't for everyone. Most men won't do this. They won't put in the work. They won't endure the pain. They'll settle for comfort, for ease, for a life that never demands more from them. Why? Because it's hard, because it's lonely, because it requires sacrifice. That's why most men live average lives. They choose the easy road instead of the right one. They choose distractions over discipline. They choose comfort over growth. But if you want to be different, if you want to be the man no one can replace, then you have to choose the path most men fear. You have to be willing to suffer for what you want. You have to be willing to push when others stop. You have to be willing to outwork, outlast, and outgrow every version of yourself that ever settled for less. Because in the end, only one type of man becomes irreplaceable: the man who does what others won't. Most men are stuck in a cycle of waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for inspiration, waiting to feel ready. But the harsh truth? That feeling may never come. Motivation is weak, it's unreliable, it comes and goes like the wind. Some days you wake up inspired, other days you don't. If your success depends on feeling motivated, you'll never achieve anything lasting. But discipline never fails you. Discipline shows up when motivation disappears. It makes you move forward, even when you don't feel like it. The strongest men don't wait to be in the right mood. They don't let their emotions decide their actions. They move, they do, they build. If you wait to feel ready, you'll stay stuck. If you act despite your feelings, you'll become unstoppable. The choice is yours. Every morning, before the world demands anything from you, you face a test. That test happens in the first few minutes of your day. Do you hit snooze, or do you rise with purpose? Do you waste time scrolling your phone, or do you take control? The way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Weak men let the morning control them. Strong men own it. The men who win their mornings win their lives. They don't wake up reacting to life, they wake up creating it. A morning spent in control leads to a day spent in control. A morning wasted leads to a day wasted. If you want to separate yourself from the masses, take command of your mornings. Build yourself before the world distracts you. Start the day with discipline, and the rest of your life will follow. Every day you make choices, and most of them seem small. One missed workout, one alarm snoozed, one promise to yourself broken. It seems like nothing in the moment, but nothing is ever just nothing. These little choices stack up. like bricks, shaping who you become. A man who constantly gives himself permission to be weak will stay weak. A man who disciplines himself, even in the small things, builds strength that others can't match. Success or failure isn't built in a single moment. It's built in thousands of tiny decisions. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you can't control the small things, you'll never control the big ones. The question is, are your choices building you up or tearing you down? Imagine your discipline as a building. Every focused hour, every completed task, every act of self-control is a brick laid in your foundation. Some men build strongholds, structures that can't be shaken, forged through years of effort. Other men, they build weak, fragile homes that crumble under the first sign of pressure. And when life hits them, when struggle comes, they fall apart. Great men understand that every action matters, every workout, every book read, every disciplined moment. These are the bricks of your future. The difference between a weak man and a strong one is simple. One lays bricks every day, the other does not. The question is, what kind of structure are you building? A man without rules for himself is a man with no direction. The world respects those who have standards, lines they refuse to cross, habits they refuse to break. Weak men bend under pressure, strong men stand firm. You don't need someone else to tell you what's acceptable. You set your own rules, your own non-negotiables. Maybe it's waking up at a set time. Maybe it's hitting the gym no matter what. Maybe it's never allowing yourself to complain. Whatever it is, the moment you decide this is my rule and I will not break it, you separate yourself from average men. Discipline isn't just about action, it's about identity. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when it's hard? Who are you when life tests you? The answer to those questions determines whether you're just another man or someone the world respects. The greatest men in history weren't born different. They weren't given some special gift that made them stronger or smarter than the rest. They simply lived by rules most men won't. Michael Jordan trained harder when he was exhausted. Jocko Willink wakes up at 4:30 a.m. no matter what. David Goggins runs when his body screams for rest. These men didn't wait for motivation. They didn't negotiate with weakness. They made discipline their way of life. Their success wasn't luck. It was built through relentless habits. If you want to be great, follow the clues. Look at the men who have done it before you. Study them, train like them, think like them. Because the reality is you are only as strong as the discipline you build. So the question is, are you willing to do what they did? Are you willing to hold yourself to a higher standard? Or will you be like the rest, waiting, hoping, settling? The choice is yours. Discipline over everything. Look at the things that hold the highest value in life. Wealth, power. They are never handed out freely. They must be earned. The harder something is to reach, the more people desire it. Now think about how this applies to you. When you are always available, always chasing, always responding, you lose value. You blend into the background, just another option among many. Why do people chase after things that seem out of reach? Because scarcity creates demand. It's a law of nature. The more something is available, the less people want it. If you make yourself too easy to access, you're teaching the world that your time, your energy, and your presence are not worth much. If you're always the first to call, always the first to text, always waiting to be noticed, you are the one being chased away. Stop giving yourself away so freely. Make your time something people have to earn. Want to know the fastest way to be taken for granted? Be available to everyone, all the time. When something is always within reach, people stop valuing it. Whether it's in relationships, business, or personal growth, being too easy, too accessible, and too predictable makes you disposable. Think about it. Why do people treat luxury cars, rare watches, and exclusive clubs with such respect? Because they aren't for everyone. Their scarcity makes them valuable. But most men do the opposite. They spread themselves thin. They're always answering, always chasing, always giving, hoping that by being there for everyone, they will be respected. But the result? They become easy to overlook. The solution? Make yourself rare. Be selective. Stop giving away your time and energy to people who don't value it. When you stop being everywhere, people start to notice when you're not around. Diamonds are hidden deep within the earth. They take years of pressure and refinement to become valuable. Pebbles, they're everywhere, scattered on every street, stepped on without a second thought. Now ask yourself, which one are you becoming? If you're constantly available, constantly seeking approval, constantly explaining yourself, you're just another pebble, easy to find, easy to replace. But if you guard your presence, if you refine yourself, if you move with purpose instead of seeking validation, you become a diamond. Something people want, but not everyone can have. A man who values himself moves differently. He's not begging to be seen. He's not constantly seeking attention. He is focused on growth, and because of that, people respect him. If you want to be valued, stop making yourself common. A man who gives himself to everyone is valued by no one. You only have so much time, so much energy, so much presence to offer. If you waste it on people who drain you, on meaningless distractions, on things that don't help you grow, you become weak. But when you guard your energy, when you choose where and how you invest yourself, you become powerful. Look at the men who command respect. They don't chase, they don't beg, they don't explain. They move with purpose. They choose where to invest their attention, and because of that, people pay attention to them. So ask yourself, are you in control of your energy, or is it being drained by the wrong people? If you want to be respected, start protecting your presence. Guard your attention. Your focus is your power. Stop wasting it on distractions. Stop chasing approval. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't care. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Protect it. 2. Raise your entry price. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your time, your thoughts, your presence. The more you give it away, the less people value it. Choose who gets your energy. Make it something people have to earn. 3. Operate in silence. Stop talking. Stop explaining. Stop trying to prove yourself. Let your work speak. Let your results demand respect. Move in silence. Build in silence. Grow in silence. And when the time comes, let your success do all the talking. Most men waste their time being too available, too predictable, too easy to reach. But if you want to be valued, if you want to be respected, you must become rare. Because the truth is simple. The man who is everywhere is seen by no one. The man who is rare is chased by everyone. The loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest. He speaks to be heard, to be seen, to prove himself. But true power doesn't seek attention. True power moves in silence. Look at the men who command the most respect. They don't waste words. They don't explain themselves. They let their actions speak. They don't need approval because they already know who they are. The world is filled with noise. Men shouting for recognition, chasing attention, desperate to be noticed. But the men who are truly in control, they don't chase, they attract. Their presence alone demands respect. So ask yourself, do you control your presence, or does your presence control you? Are you speaking to prove yourself, or are you moving with quiet confidence, knowing that real power needs no announcement? The strongest men are the ones who operate in silence. Be one of them. Most people think reacting quickly means you're strong, that the faster you speak, the faster you move, the more power you have. But that's a lie. Reacting without thinking isn't strength, it's weakness. It's impulsive, and impulsive men are easy to manipulate. They lash out in anger, jump to conclusions, and make decisions based on emotion rather than logic. A man who controls his reactions controls his life. He doesn't let the world push him into mistakes. He doesn't let emotions pull him into battles that aren't worth fighting. He pauses, he calculates. He chooses his next move instead of being a pawn in someone else's game. So ask yourself, are you acting with purpose, or are you just reacting to life? Because the men who think before they move are the ones who end up running the game. Life is a game. Some men play checkers, short-term, impulsive, always reacting to the next move. But the men who dominate, they play chess. They think ahead. They don't waste energy on meaningless battles. They don't get distracted by small fights. They move with strategy, always looking at the bigger picture. Every great leader, every powerful man, every high-level thinker operates with this mindset. They see the long-term play, while others are caught up in the moment. Weak men fight for scraps, strong men position themselves for the feast. So, which one are you? Are you reacting to every little thing that happens to you? Or are you playing the long game, making moves that put you ahead while everyone else is stuck in the moment? A man ruled by his emotions is a man ruled by the world. Anger, fear, desire. These emotions aren't bad, but if you don't control them, they will control you. Most men let their emotions dictate their actions. They lash out when they're angry, they break when they're afraid, they chase things they shouldn't because of temporary desire, and because of that they lose control over their own lives. But the strongest men, they master their emotions. They don't ignore them, but they don't let them take the wheel either. They use anger as fuel, they use fear as a warning, not a prison. They use desire as motivation, not distraction. Because in the end, the men who control their emotions control their actions, and the men who control their actions control their destiny. History doesn't remember the men who panicked. It doesn't remember the men who lost control. It remembers the ones who stood firm. The generals who kept their soldiers steady under fire. The leaders who held their vision despite doubt. The warriors who refused to be rattled, no matter what was in front of them. These men weren't superhuman. They didn't have more strength or talent than everyone else. They simply mastered themselves when others lost control. And that's what separates the great from the forgotten. The ability to remain unshaken under pressure. The ability to keep moving forward, no matter what's in the way. Because in the end, if you can master yourself, nothing can break you. If you were gone tomorrow, what would people say about you? Would they describe you as a man of strength, discipline and purpose? Or would they struggle to find the right words, realizing you left nothing behind? Most men avoid this question. They push it aside because it's uncomfortable. It forces them to look at the reality of their lives, and for too many men, that reality is forgettable. The truth is, you are writing your legacy every single day, with every action, every choice, every moment. You are deciding what kind of man you will be remembered as. Would they say you were the one who always made excuses, who never took risks, who never stood for anything? Or would they say you were a force, a man who left an impact so strong that his presence is still felt, even in his absence? Your time is limited. You still have the chance to change the answer to that question, but the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. So the question is, what will you do about it? Every man carries a weight. Some carry the weight of discipline, the daily effort, the struggle, the sacrifice. It's hard, it's uncomfortable, but it makes you stronger. It builds you into a man that stands tall. Others carry the weight of regret, the weight of wasted time, missed chances, unfulfilled potential. This weight is heavier, it crushes you. And the worst part, you can't drop it. You can't go back and fix the days you wasted. Most men think avoiding hard work will keep them free, but that's a lie. There is no escaping the weight. You either carry the pain of discipline now, or you carry the pain of regret later. And when you look back, when time has run out, you will either be grateful for the battles you fought, or you will be haunted by the ones you ran from. Which weight are you carrying? At the end of your life, your name will do one of two things. It will live on, or it will fade away. You won't be remembered for what you thought about doing. You won't be remembered for your excuses, your hesitations, or your comfortable distractions. You will be remembered for what you built, for the lives you changed, for the impact you made. And here's the truth. That choice isn't made at the end of your life. It's made every single day. It's in the way you live, the standards you set, the actions you take. Most men live like they have all the time in the world, but time is running out. Every second you waste is a second you will never get back. So the question isn't whether you'll be remembered. The question is, are you living in a way that makes sure you will be? Because in the end, the men who make a mark don't wait for life to happen. They make every day count. Will you? Every single day, with every decision you make, you are either becoming more valuable or more forgettable. There is no standing still. You're either moving forward or falling behind. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, every time you let distractions pull you away from your goals, you are making yourself easier to replace. Look around. The world is filled with men who coast through life. waiting for something to change. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow. They waste years watching, wishing, waiting, until one day they realize they've built nothing. They've left no impact, and when they're gone, the world moves on like they never existed. The men who rise, the men who matter, make their value undeniable. Not by talking, not by hoping, but by working. They develop skills, they build discipline, they become men the world cannot ignore. So look at your life right now. Are you building yourself up, or are you fading into the background? Are you taking actions that make you stand out, or are you blending into the crowd? This is your wake-up call. You are either building value, or you are losing it. Most men live with the quiet hope that someone will come along and fix their life for them, that someone will notice them, hand them opportunities, pull them out of mediocrity. But here's the truth. No one is coming. No one is going to hand you success. No one is going to force you to wake up early, put in the work, and build yourself into something greater. That's your job. That's your responsibility. Look at history. The men who rose, the ones who left their mark, they weren't waiting for permission. They weren't waiting for ideal conditions. They decided that no matter what, they would take control. The ones who wait, the ones who need someone else to tell them it's time, they stay trapped in the cycle of mediocrity. The ones who rise, they understand that every step forward, every piece of discipline, every sacrifice is their own responsibility. So ask yourself, are you waiting for life to hand you a better future? Or are you stepping up and building it yourself? Because in the end, there are only two types of men: those who take control and those who get controlled. Which one will you be? Weak men are everywhere. They're easy to find, easy to use, and easy to replace. They live their lives like everyone else. They think like everyone else. They take what they can get, never demanding more from themselves. And when they're gone, the world barely notices. But a man who knows his worth, a man who moves with purpose, who sets standards and refuses to break them, he is rare. And rarity creates value. A man who is hard to find is a man who commands respect. A man who is hard to replace is a man who controls his future. So ask yourself, are you that man? Are you building yourself into someone the world cannot ignore? Are you making yourself so valuable that no one can replace you? If not, when will you start? Because the truth is simple. You either rise or you disappear.